2,000 years ago, the Mediterranean Sea was dominated by a magnificent city in North Africa, Carthage. It was a world hub of wealth, filled with gold and powerful warships. But across the sea, a new aggressive power was rising, the Republic of Rome. Rome had a disciplined army and an insatiable hunger for land. Soon, these two giants clashed in a brutal struggle for global control. In the heart of Carthage, a young boy named Hannibal Barca was growing up. His father, Hamilcar, was the greatest general of Carthage. Hannibal's childhood was not peaceful. His home was a military camp. He fell asleep to the sound of marching boots and woke up to the sight of bronze shields. He learned to ride horses and read weather patterns before he could even read books. When Carthage lost the first war against Rome, Hamilcar was filled with fury. He decided to leave for Spain to build a new army for revenge. The night before his departure, he took 9-year-old Hannibal into a dark stone temple. A bronze brazier burned with an intense golden flame, casting deep shadows on the marble walls. Hamilcar looked down at his son and said, "Put your hand on the sacred altar." Little Hannibal placed his hand on the cold stone. "Repeat my words," the father commanded. Hannibal whispered, "I swear that from this day forward I will always be an enemy of Rome. I will never rest until the Republic is destroyed." This promise changed his life. Hannibal was no longer just a child. He was a weapon designed to destroy a superpower. He spent years in the wild mountains of Spain, learning fighting techniques and studying Greek philosophy and military history. When he was 26, his father died, and the soldiers chose Hannibal as their new supreme commander. He was ready to fulfill his oath. When a new war started, Rome planned to attack Spain and Africa by sea. Hannibal refused to play by their rules. He knew that to win, you must attack the center of the enemy's power. He decided to attack Italy directly. But going by sea was impossible due to the strong Roman navy. Hannibal looked at his map. Protecting Italy like a giant stone wall stood the Alps, the highest, most dangerous mountains in Europe, covered in eternal ice and deadly cliffs. The Romans believed the Alps were impassable. Hannibal realized that because they thought it was impossible, the mountain passes would be unprotected. He gathered his army of 50,000 men and 37 giant African war elephants and marched into the snow. The ascent was a nightmare. The paths were narrow, and one wrong step meant falling into the abyss. The elephants panicked on the ice, and wild mountain tribes rolled giant stones down on the marching columns. The soldiers were freezing, exhausted, and ready to give up. Hannibal rode to the front, stood on a high rock, and pointed his sword toward the south, where the sunny plains of Italy were visible in the distance. "Look, my brothers," he shouted, "down there is your prize. By climbing these rocks, you are crossing the walls of Rome itself." The motivation returned. When a giant landslide blocked their path with solid rock, Hannibal used his mind instead of brute force. He ordered his men to build a massive fire on the stone and then pour their sour wine and vinegar over it. The extreme temperature change cracked the rock, allowing his men to clear the path. After 15 brutal days, Hannibal descended into Italy. He lost half of his army to the cold, but he completed the impossible road. In his first 2 years in Italy, Hannibal destroyed several Roman armies using brilliant ambushes. The Romans realized he was a chess master, using their own aggressive psychology against them. Furious and terrified, Rome gathered the largest army in its history, 86,000 highly disciplined soldiers. They wanted to meet Hannibal in an open field and crush him with pure numbers. Hannibal had only 40,000 men. He was outnumbered 2-1 near the town of Cannae. Hannibal formed his army in a unique crescent shape that curved towards the Romans. He placed his weakest soldiers in the center, his best African veterans on the sides, and his elite cavalry on the far edges. The massive Roman block marched forward like a steamroller and hit Hannibal's curved center. As planned, the center began to retreat. The Roman generals thought they were winning and ordered everyone to push deeper into the gap. Suddenly, Hannibal raised his hand. The retreat stopped. The disciplined African veterans on the sides turned inward, attacking the exposed flanks of the rushing Romans. At the same moment, Hannibal's cavalry defeated the enemy riders, came around from behind, and closed the exit. 86,000 Romans were completely surrounded in a small circle, unable to even draw their swords. By sunset, 70,000 Roman soldiers lay dead. It was the greatest tactical victory in human history. Many English students believe they need a massive army of words to speak well. They memorize thousands of rare terms, but when they try to speak, this heavy block collapses in their mind. They panic. Hannibal teaches us that power lies in strategy, not numbers. You do not need 80,000 words. Just 3,000 core words make up 95% of daily English conversations. If you master these core words and position them smartly with simple grammar, you can communicate about anything. Build a fluid, strategic mind instead of a heavy, useless vocabulary. After Cannae, Rome was in a state of existential panic. Citizens ran through the streets shouting, "Hannibal ad portas! Hannibal is at the gates!" But Hannibal did not have heavy catapults to break the giant stone walls of Rome, so he stayed in southern Italy to isolate the city first. The Romans chose a patient general named Fabius, who created the Fabian strategy. The Romans stopped fighting Hannibal in open battles. Instead, they followed him from a safe distance, stayed on high hills, and burned the fields and food supplies around him. They wanted to starve his army and tire him out in a war of 1,000 small cuts. For 16 years, Hannibal controlled the Italian countryside. No Roman general could defeat him. But he was running out of human capital. Every soldier he lost was a tragedy. He sent urgent messages to Carthage asking for reinforcements to finish Rome. But back in Carthage, the rich politicians were comfortable and jealous of Hannibal's fame. They were afraid he would return and take their power. They laughed at his messages and refused to send him help. Hannibal was left completely alone, betrayed by his own country, while Rome rebuilt its strength year after year. Rome built a new army under a brilliant young general named Scipio. Scipio copied Hannibal's grand strategy. He stopped fighting in Italy and sailed directly to attack Carthage. Terrified, the Carthaginian politicians ordered Hannibal to return home. Hannibal left Italy after 16 years of sacrifice, his dream of destroying Rome unfulfilled. In 202 BC, Hannibal was finally defeated at the Battle of Zama, and Carthage surrendered. Hannibal became an exile, wandering distant eastern kingdoms, pursued by Roman guards. Finally, at age 64, surrounded by enemies in a small fortress, he looked at a cup of poison. "Let us release the Romans from their long anxiety," he whispered, and drank it. Carthage was eventually burned to the ground, and Hannibal died in exile. It looks like a total defeat. But you can destroy a physical city, but you cannot destroy intellectual capital. By forcing Rome to fight for its survival, Hannibal transformed Rome into a global imperial machine. Rome expanded across Europe, carrying its culture and its language, Latin, which became the lingua franca of the ancient world. Today, the physical Roman Empire is dead, but a new digital order has arrived, and its lingua franca is English. History isn't just about the past, it's a blueprint for your future. The same strategic mind that allowed Hannibal to conquer the Alps will help you conquer the English language. Stop fighting with raw force. Start using smart consistency. Face your personal Alps today. Draw your sword, and let's win this campaign together. Drop your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to the Legends Path, and hit the bell icon for more epic journeys. Keep exploring, keep learning, and your next chapter begins right now.